In this video, I'm turning 3 different Ninjago dragons into mechs to match this one that I made in the past. Also make sure to stay tuned to the end of this video for information about a LEGO Ninjago set giveaway. Last year, I made a video where I turned the Young Dragon Ryu set into a mech. This is because I was challenging myself to make a custom Ninjago build using every set released that year, and I hadn't done Lloyd's mech or the Ryu set yet. I thought it would be a fun, silly idea to combine the two, so that's exactly what I did. But what I didn't expect is that the final model would turn out to be genuinely super cool. I loved how the final result looked, and you guys seem to really like it as well. I've had tons of people tell me it's their favorite build of mine. Well, since then, LEGO has released 3 more dragons that use the same headpiece but with different colors and different printing. There was a Leaf Dragon in the Tournament Temple City in summer 2024, and then most recently in January 2025 we got Lloyd's Green Forest Dragon, as well as this little mech dragon for Roz in the Super Storm Jet. The head was also reused in a Spider-Man set as a dinosaur, but that's a project for another video. But since my first Dragon mech was so popular, I thought, why don't I do it again for these 3? So with that idea, I wanted to put together a plan. Looking back at my last Dragon mech, I wanted to identify which parts of it should be the same on the others and what parts I should change up. Of course, the colors would be different, but I wanted to do more than just recolor the build. I think a big thing for me on the original build is that while I called it a mech, I don't really see it as an actual mech. Rather, it just used the mech structure as a base, but it's more its own character. This isn't meant to be a machine, it's a dragon warrior. I want to make sure that the others feel that way too. I think it's important to keep the actual dragon elements as well. For example, I included Ryu's wings on this build. And for the weapon, I just used one of the swords from the Lloyd mech, but this time around I think it would be cool to make things a little more complex. Each build should have their own unique weapons, so that way they feel like a party of different characters. Finally, I want to keep a consistent hand and feet design. Funnily enough, I didn't actually design the hands and feet for this mech, those are taken directly from the Lloyd mech, but they work so perfectly here. Only having 3 fingers makes them feel like dragon claws as opposed to the 4-fingered mechs, and the way the feet attach out the back of the legs makes the entire thing more animalistic. So with all that in mind, it was time to start building, and first up we have the Leaf Dragon. This was such a fun color scheme to work with, using burnt orange, brown, gold, and a reddish orange for the leaves. I wanted the symmetry on this one to be imperfect, similar to real-life trees, so there's slightly different shapes on the shoulders. I also used lots of these like regular slope pieces to give the appearance of tree bark. There's leaves growing out of rounded slopes and little flowers on top. The head was a little bit of a challenge to figure out, as I wanted to keep the horns that the original dragon had, but if I attached it like the Ryu mech, there would be no room, as the Leaf Dragon has a brick-built part of her head. I solved this by moving the ball socket back and attaching the head on this longer ball joint with a bar connection on it. Then I attached Skulkin arms to that and the horns behind them. This makes them slightly asymmetrical as one is further back, but I think that matches with the style of the shoulders. The waist is a recolor of my one from the Ryu mech, though with flowers added to the skirt. The legs I once again kept very geometric, with flowers growing out from rounded slopes, and I think the dark brown on the ball joints looks really nice. The feet, as I wanted, ended up quite similar to the Ryu mech, but with leaves growing out the back, and the claws at the front use the same piece that the ends of the horns use. Moving up to the arms, they both use these large armor pieces since this dragon is rather bulky all over, and again there's some more like very dramatic slopes. I also added in golden blades to be wings here because that's what the original dragon had, and little branches growing off because I think it looks cool and adds a little more life to the build. Finally, for the accessory, I built a giant nature staff. Like I said, I want each dragon to have a different role, and I think this one makes sense as some sort of spellcaster. The staff has some growth on the bottom and lots of different branches coming out the top. I'm so happy with how this one turned out. I was a little bit worried since burnt orange is not the most common LEGO color, but I think I found parts that fit really well. She looks really nice next to Ryu while still having her own identity. Next up, we have the Forest Dragon. There's a very clear color scheme here of green, and dark blue, so that's what I also went with for my build. This time around, though, I wanted things to feel a little bit different. My last 2 dragons were very armored, so I want to make this one a little less so, maybe more agile while still feeling draconic. I went for a more rounded look and used less of the sharper pieces that the previous 2 used. This is most obvious here at the waist, where I still included a skirt, but it's very different. Unlike the others, this one is small and brick-built using layered texturing pieces to look like dragon scales. I also used the small SCCBS armor pieces on the lower legs, which the last 2 dragons did not use, but I think it fits the vibe I was going for with this one. There's a good bit of trans bright green in here too, representing elemental energy, and I did still make sure that the legs felt like they fit a dragon. The feet once again have the same general design, but those same rounded scales are on the back, the tops of the feet use textured bricks almost to look like grass, and at the front there's dark green claws and trans green slopes. The arms, I went all out with the brick-built scales covering up the armor pieces. There's a little bit of olive green with the mudguards at the front, and I would have loved for that to be a different color, but the piece just does not exist in the color I would have rather used. Still, that part is consistency between all 4 builds, so I wanted to keep it even if the color wasn't perfect. And then, of course, I can't forget this dragon's wings. The Forest Dragon has have much bigger wings than Riyu or the Leaf Dragon, so rather than attaching them to the arms like I did on those two, I attached them to the back. For his accessories, I built two little knives. Since this guy is a forest dragon, I see him as like a ranger, so I think these fit in. And there we go, that's the build complete. This is another one that I'm very happy with. I think the scales are definitely the coolest part, but I just love the overall color scheme. Now, before I show you the final build and detail the giveaway in this video, I have a question for you. But first, did you know? Bricks by Mind building instructions are available now for a few different builds that I featured in my videos. My instructions are in two different forms, traditional PDFs on Unbreakable and follow-along video instructions on my YouTube channel. There's both free and premium instructions. Premium instructions can be purchased individually on Unbreakable, and Pyro Upper Tier or above YouTube members can access all premium video instructions for the duration of their membership. All YouTube members also get access to the Bricks by Mind Discord server and custom emojis in my live streams and comments, plus you do a ton to help support the channel, which I could not be more grateful for. So now we come to my question. I'll be releasing instructions for all of the builds in this video and the original Ryu mech 1 week from the day this video is uploaded. So you guys get to pick which of the 4 Dragon mechs do you want to see as the free instruction. Whichever is the most popular is the one I'll release in that way, with the other 3 coming as premium instructions. Make your voice heard in the comments, and make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you're new. I'll be making a community tab post the moment the instructions are available, so keep your eyes out for that. Thank you as always for all of your support. Now let's return to the video and see the final build. Last up, we have Lloyd's Mech Dragon. The original build here is very small and does not give us a ton to work with outside of the print that's on it, but I think I'm okay with that. Since the original version is a mech dragon, I wanted to reflect that in my build and make it different from the other 3. I designed the torso to be far simpler, similar to the Elemental Power Mechs that these builds are based on. Unlike the others, I actually didn't want this build to feel organic, I wanted it to actually feel like a machine. But I still wanted it to feel like a part of the same line, so the waist is done just like the Ryu mech, though in black and gold. The legs are significantly simpler than the others, just made to look elegant with gold plating. I used the Nexonite shield piece too, which none of the other dragons use, but a lot of actual mechs do, so it really solidifies the fact that this guy is mechanical. And I brought in some trans pink lights here to match the printing on the eyes. I brought the more elegant plating over to the feet as well, and then on the arms I used the SCCBS armor piece again, but it's reversed compared to the Forest Dragon mech. That one aimed to cover up the ball joint slightly, while for the Raj Dragon I want the ball joint to actually be a little more obvious, solidifying the fact that this is a machine. There's some very dramatic pointy spikes here too to be artificial dragon scales, and then for his accessory, I made a brick-built blaster that could spin as it shoots. Since this is an artificial dragon, I thought it made sense if his weapon was more artificial too. I decided not to add wings in any form to this build to again help separate it from the others. Overall, I do think this one is my least favorite of my custom dragon mechs, but I think I did a good job of making the body match the printed headpiece. And that is all 4 of my custom dragon mechs complete. They do still fit a minifigure even if I don't really intend for them to be piloted, and because they're in the elemental mech system, they can also mix and match parts with each other and those original sets. I love how these guys turned out, and it's tough for me to pick a favorite. The Ryu mech of course holds a very special place in my heart and I think holds up really well, but the Forest and Leaf Dragons especially I think turned out really awesome. What do you guys think? Which one was your favorite? And now, to end things off, let's talk about my giveaway. Matching the theme of this video, I'm giving away a few different Ninjago sets with dragons in them. First place will get the Arc Dragon of Focus and Thunderfang Dragon of Chaos. Second place will get Zane's Ultra Combiner Mech, which of course features the new Ryu. And third place will get just Thunderfang Dragon of Chaos. Now, what is the contest and how do you enter? Well, this is another building competition. I want you to create a custom build using a LEGO Dragon Head or Dragon Jaw piece. But the thing is, the build is not allowed to be an actual dragon. So you could create dragon mechs like I did in this video, or you could do something like the Destiny's Bounty that has a dragon head at the front. Or you could do something entirely unrelated that just uses the dragon head for detailing, like the head of this Monkey Kid set, for example. You can really do anything, the limit is your imagination. Just make sure the final build is not a regular dragon. Any type of dragon head is okay too. It could be molded, brick built, new, old. It could be from Ninjago, LEGO Elves, Classic Castle, whatever. You can even make your own custom dragon head. Just make sure there is a recognizable dragon head part somewhere in the build. After you've built your model, post it to Instagram with the tag Bricks by Mind Not a Dragon Contest. Make sure to tag me in the post too, not just in the caption but in the actual picture. Instagram can be a little weird sometimes, so tagging me in the actual picture will make sure that I don't miss it. The contest starts today as this video goes up and will end on March 31st, and then winners will be selected shortly after by myself and a few contributors to the channel. You must be subscribed to me on YouTube, following me on Instagram, and be 13 years or older to enter, but of course if you're younger than that, you can have someone such as a parent or guardian enter on your behalf. Prizes can be shipped mostly worldwide with a few small restrictions, so please check the description of this video for the full details of the contest. Good luck to you all, and I look forward to seeing your entries. And I think that's all I've got for this one. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!